So the CS2 market insanity continues, and today we need to talk absolutely about what is going on. We need to talk about the crash that we are seeing in the CS2 markets right now. Obviously, over the past couple of weeks, we have seen an absolutely insane, ridiculous, straight up pump to the moon on so many different items in the CS2 skin economy, and now we are starting to see some of that stuff kind of return to reality. And I know a lot of people are getting burned, a lot of people are panicking, a lot of people are freaking out. Hopefully you guys aren't caught up in all of this stuff too bad, but we're going to be going over the latest of all what the heck is going on in this video today. But of course, as always, just want to mention my cash trading business. If you guys are looking to sell any of your CS2 skins, turn them into cold hard cash, crypto, or any other payment method, definitely hit me up over on Twitter. It's going to be the first link in the description below. As prices have pumped up, like everything I have sold, obviously, because I had stuff bought and it was listed, and as prices went up, it all sold. So I'm looking a little bit low on skins right now, so we need to get some big deals done. So if you're looking to sell any gloves, knives, bulk cases, maybe your entire inventory, whatever, hit me up, and I can help cash you out safely, effectively, and efficiently. And of course, if you sell to me, you're helping support me, my channel, and my content, which I would appreciate a ton. With that being said, let's get right into this video today. So yeah, this is what we have from Price Empire. This was tweeted yesterday, so things have gotten even crazier since this tweet. But at one point yesterday, the skins market cap lost $220 million in the past 24 hours. Again, we peaked over $5 billion for a little while, but then we dropped down to $4.8 billion. I believe we're even lower right now. I don't know if I have a tab of this pulled up. Okay, we're actually back to 4.9 right now. I don't know if this is refreshed or not. Maybe I'm about to refresh this and we're about to crash right back down. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, we're going to be looking at a ton of different skins, a ton of different things that have changed a ton, things that have gone down. We got to verify that we're human real quick, and we can see if this is going to load. I don't know what the latest is. Okay, yeah, that's what I was about to say. 4.5 billion. I knew we were below 4.9, so that's crazy. So yeah, yesterday we were at like 4.8 billion, and now today down to 4.5 is absolutely insane. Things keep dropping. This guy tweeted out, "Down we go," and you can see here tons of items are down 24, 20, 19, 18% in the past 24 hours. And this is crazy. But the thing to keep in mind is, like this person tweeted out here, you know, why is it going down? One, we have been in the middle of a pretty crazy bull market for the past like year or so. A lot of skins and items overall have been doing pretty well. Not necessarily skins, because like I said, in general, I don't really think skins are all that great of investments. Skins generally have pretty stable prices, and, you know, they might appreciate 10, 7, 10, 12, 15% per year, but skins in general, even like high tier skins, are not the things that are going up like 20, 30% per year, having these insane returns. But skins were mostly flat, increasing. Then they went, you know, insane. Now they're kind of crashing back down. But a lot of these skins are still above where they were like a month ago or 2 months ago or whatever. So it's not like, you know, we've gotten absolutely wrecked. It's not like things are down absolutely horrible. Yeah, things are down horrible if you bought in the last couple of days, or if you bought in the past week or so. You know, if you bought the literal tip of the market, if you saw prices double in like 72 hours and then you bought at the absolute peak, yeah, you're getting wrecked right now. But I think a lot of people would argue that you probably deserve to get wrecked, because who the heck, you know, would necessarily be buying at those prices? Now, obviously in my videos, I talked about, hey, I didn't know if things were going to crash back down for sure, or how long it was going to take or whatever. But there is a saying in investing that things take like the stairs up and the elevator down, or something like that. You know, it can take a long time to have slow, continuous growth. And even if things start to get pretty crazy, still growth is faster. But once things start to crash, things crash down insanely fast. So I know there's a lot of people out there who thought, oh, things slowly climbed up, or they climbed up pretty crazy, they'll probably climb back down over a couple days or whatever. No, crashes usually happen faster. Crashes usually happen in a more vertical sense, and that's for a bunch of different reasons. Obviously, there's a lot of people panic selling. There's a lot of people trying to cut their losses. There's a lot of people who were buying just to try and sell higher. And then, you know, once prices start to go down and they realize they're not going to get any profit, they need to get out fast. There's so many people who, you know, saw skin prices going up and they realize, oh, hey, I have this item in a storage unit, or I have this item on a different account, or, you know, coming back to CS to sell their stuff higher. You know, like there's so many people who I've seen who have been like having a skin that they never thought they were going to sell until they saw the price was too good, and then they do sell. Now, that obviously could have a lot of the reason why we've seen some of these drops. But yeah, some of these are absolutely insane. I know there were some people out there who still thought, you know, this is just people who bought into the pump taking their profits. I think this will stabilize, go back up when they stop dumping. No, this is very possible. When markets move up and down, it's not only up and it's not only down. Things, went up and then obviously they were going to come back down eventually or at some point or whatever. But just because they're going down now doesn't mean they're going to continue to go down. They could return back up. They could keep crashing. They could, fake us out in either direction. We don't really know. There is reasons for both of these to happen. There's dead cat bounce. There's, fake drops, fake pumps. Who knows where this thing could go, which is why I don't try to get caught up with timing the market. This is why I don't try to get caught up with short-term market, prices or trends or whatever. And that's what I've been telling people. I think generally the best investing strategy, and one that will not drive you insane, and also one that will not leave you getting caught up in all this stupidity and losing, hundreds or thousands of dollars or whatever. I see there's people losing tens of thousands of dollars in this market stupidity right now, and it makes absolutely no sense. The best investing strategy, if you don't want to gamble and you don't want to end up looking like an idiot or feeling like an idiot, is to just buy the best stuff always. Consistently buy the best things. My favorite things, again, I say this time and time again in every video, my favorite things are trade up skins and cases. Now, I'm going to buy cases all the time when I get paid, when I have extra money, when I, have some money sitting on a side or whatever. I'm going to buy cases. I'm not going to be, trying to time the market perfectly, blah, 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 whatever, because there's a ton of people right now who maybe didn't sell at the top because they thought it was going to go higher, or maybe bought at the top because they thought it was going to go higher, or, or maybe going to try and buy the dip right now because they think this is the dip and maybe it's going to go lower and they're going to get burned or whatever. There was people who, were sitting on the sidelines waiting for a market crash previously, and then we pumped to the moon and now we're crashing back down to where we started. Like, trying to time the market will drive you crazy, will leave you looking like an idiot, and it's probably going to end up losing you money at the end of the day anyway, because again, buying and selling, especially with the 7-day trade hold, that just adds another layer of kind of gambling and timing to this whole thing, and you continue to pay fees on buying and selling and withdrawing and depositing money and all this stuff, so it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But yes, the market is going very, very insane right now. Some of the biggest CS2 skin price crashes of the day. We had Sports Glove Arid down 55%. We had the Blue Phosphor down 37%. But again, the Blue Phosphor was one of the skins that pumped the most during this whole thing as well. The Fuel Injector down 40%. Fire Serpent down 26%. I mean, this is just really, really, really crazy. Again, other people saying, hey, prices ain't crashing. There's just a little correction, but this seems almost deliberate. But then I think the same person later posts some of these insane graphs. I mean, these are literally some of the most ridiculous graphs of anything I've ever seen. We have Emerald Web Specialist Gloves going from 11,000 RMB to 35,000, back down to like 14 or 15,000. But again, it does look like kind of higher than when all this started, or higher than it was like a month ago. So, whatever. Again, we have Moto Gloves Cool Mint going from about 3,400 up to 10,000, back down. And like, imagine being the people that bought the top of all these things. Like, it's very, very, very crazy. 22,000 up to 58,000, then back down. All these graphs look the same as well. This was the entire market pretty much pumping at once, and now the entire market pretty much crashing at once with just as much volatility. So again, things doubled in price or whatever, and now things are going down 50, 60, 70% in some cases. Where were you when you didn't sell your phase 2 butterfly Doppler for 100,000 RMB? Again, going up to 100,000. Now we're looking at like 60,000. So what, like a 40% drop in 3 days? I mean, that is insane, especially when we're talking about big pieces of money as well. Now, this one I thought, I don't know. I don't want to like laugh or make fun of people or whatever, especially when they're losing money, but this one is kind of funny, or at least kind of interesting. This guy, Rick Grimes, tweets out, this is April 11th. He tweets out, China has taken over the CS market. Insanely rich Chinese buyers coordinate in private chats to mass purchase specific knives, gloves, and skins. Now we see tons of accounts stacked with the same items. Right now, the CS market is pure manipulation by the wealthy Chinese. And whatever, I get it. There is, to some extent, some market manipulation going on. I don't think we can really deny that in full, because we do see there are people buying up a ton of specific items. We see people that are, creating buy orders and creating sell listings and trying to push the price down. And then, when people sell, then they pull the top out and they pump the prices up, blah, 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 whatever. That's happening to a certain extent. We kind of see that happen in all things. You see that happen in crypto. You see that happen in skins and stuff sometimes. But also at the same time, when the entire market is going up, every single item left and right, like, do I believe that every single item is being Chinese market manipulated at the same time? Like, no, I really don't believe that. And I don't believe that the entire pump we saw was all Chinese market manipulation. I do think, we've seen the player base has risen insanely over the past 6 months. Like, at some point, we were going to see some price increases on some skins. And not every single bull run is Chinese market manipulation, or has to be, or whatever. But again, this guy was calling that out. He was saying there's people with a ton of a single item. There's people who are trying to manipulate the market and own all the stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then the same guy Now, today, tweets out, the worst part of this is I used to buy skins at 95% before the pump and it was fine. This time I paid 65 to 80% and still got wrecked. Half my bank got wiped in 2 days. I've never made as much in trading as I lost now. I know many wish the worst for my post, but not like this. And he posts, how much he's like down, or the amounts that all these items that he bought are down, 14,000, 11,000, 7,000, 7,000, 6,000, 6,000, whatever. He bought like a ton of hot rods. He bought, some butterfly knives. He bought some karambits. He bought all this stuff, and it's all just down absolutely horrible. And, he bought, this guy says, who thought it was a good idea to be buying hot rods at 15 to 16K RMB each? The guy said it was 75% when I bought for 15 or 16K. Buy orders on CS Float were at 17K. The buff listings were at 19K. I expected at least one round over 10 days and a slow decline over a month, which again, expecting a slow decline, that's a mistake. That's not how crashes work. That's not how things work. Not this insane crash in just one day. Again, that is how crashes work. The market is always going to be more ridiculous than you think. You're not going to outsmart the entire market. You're not going to be able to outplay everyone else. Again, especially when you consider factoring in the 7-day trade hold and everything like that. But the irony here, or the kind of funny part of all of this, is, again, this is the same guy who a month ago was talking about how the entire market is Chinese market manipulation and blah, 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 be careful, watch out. And then it's the same guy who a month later tried buying all this stuff at the top and then it crashes on him when he's the one who thought or knew or whatever that Chinese market manipulation was going on. So why, if you think the market is being manipulated by Chinese and, we're in this insane bubble, blah, 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 why would you start spending all this money? Why would you spend, $30, $40, $50,000 on all these skins and then get wiped out in a couple of days? Yes, it is unfortunate. I do feel bad from whatever, but also it's just insanely hilarious, insanely stupid. It doesn't really make sense. But yeah, pretty ironic, pretty crazy. Since the big dump happened today and yesterday, price on a lot of CS Float is prices for a lot of items on CS Float are higher than the Chinese market. Again, you can list on CS Float to sell now. So, for a while we did see buff prices just absolutely overextending. Buff prices, Chinese market prices were going way, way, way higher. Everything you looked at on Float stuff would be, 10, 15, 20% higher on buff, and it was getting, crazier and crazier and crazier. But now we are seeing buff prices and the Chinese market crash specifically hard, and the price on float are starting to become way, way, way more attractive. Again, here's another just absolutely insane graph, 1800 to 2300, back down to 1800, pretty much exactly where it started. If you bought a lot of skins during the peak and still have them on trade hold, don't check the market today, which is crazy. Again, you see tons of people who had items that they weren't even necessarily ever thinking about selling, and then selling them just because the prices were way too good to pass up on. So that is definitely what is leading to some of this drop as well. Wex tweeted out, shout out to the guy who bought my pumped air vest right before it dropped almost 50%. Again, a ton of traders out there were trying to sell all their stuff as fast as they could because the profit margins were insane. Again, a ton of stuff that I bought like 2-3 weeks ago, the prices were sky high, and yeah, I was trying to sell it as fast as I could because I was up insanely. I had a couple of blue phosphors that I bought a couple of weeks ago, and then the price went up insane. So yeah, I'm going to try to get rid of those as fast as I can. Those aren't investments. I'm not holding them long term anyway, so why would I not try and sell them at peak market price before things crash? And I was able to get out of a lot of the stuff that I owned before this market crash. Again, you guys saw my inventory. I still have a couple of things. I have a couple of knives that aren't off trade hold yet. I have this Desert Hydra that didn't sell just yet, but for the most part, all of my expensive stuff sold because the market had gone so crazy, and because I was just trying to sell stuff as fast as I could because, yeah, I don't want to get caught up in any of the market potential downturn or craziness or whatever. Arid gloves going from 1,000 up to 3,300, back down to 900. So yeah, like I said, obviously I hope that a lot of you guys didn't get caught up in this too bad, but yeah, at one point I wasn't so sure that we were going to have such an immediate crash. I thought, hey, maybe prices can stay up for a little bit. Maybe this is just the market pumping, whatever. But honestly, as we continue to go on, I've still been buying skins, and I've still been talking to people about potentially buying skins and stuff like that. But I did start to recognize or start to realize we could be getting close to a top in the market because honestly, I haven't been able to buy that much stuff lately, which is insane because you would think during a market pump, when prices are going absolutely insane, when prices are honestly overvalued and probably don't make a ton of sense, you would think people would be trying to sell stuff to me left, right, and center, because why would you not want to cash out at the absolute top of the market? But when I've been talking to people in DMs and on Twitter and Discord and stuff like that, it has honestly been insanely hard to get deals done because as I'm talking to people about their items, people are getting insanely greedy. There's people who are offering me the worst deals I've ever had in trading ever. I've been cash trading for almost 2 years now, and during this most recent market pump, I've gotten the worst deals ever because not only Is there a ton of risk for me right now buying things at all-time highs and buying things at insane prices? People are also offering me the worst percentages and the closest to market price I've ever seen, when really at a time like this, you should be trying to sell or you should be willing to sell for cheaper. Maybe not anymore as the market's crashing, obviously, but at the top, you should have been willing to sell for cheaper to make sure you don't get caught up in the market crash. But honestly, people were asking for like very, very close to market price. I had some people in my DMs were asking for over market price because they were like, hey, don't worry, look at the pump right now. This thing's going to be worth more next week or in 2 weeks or whatever. Anyway, it was insane. I've never gotten more asks and more offers for over market price than I've gotten in the last week. So I was like, damn, people are being insanely stupid. People are being insanely greedy right now, and this is not going to end well. So over the past, this is literally over the past like 2 or 3 days, I have seen more people in my cash trading being greedy and being nonsensical than I've ever seen before. So yeah, I have not gotten very many deals done this week, but it did kind of clue me into how people are being in the market right now. And when people are being greedy, when people are being, nonsensical, that's when things end bad. And that's why a lot of people are getting burnt right now. Again, like I said, in theory, when the market pumps up, it should be the easiest time ever for me to get deals done. But literally, it's been one of the worst times ever, one of the worst, weeks or 2 weeks or whatever for me getting deals done. And that's fine. I'm willing to sit out. I'm willing to wait. I'm not in a hurry to get a bunch of deals done, especially for stupid prices or during market insanity or whatever. But that was definitely, like I said, a clue and a sign to me that we were at, just a time that didn't make much sense in the market. So I'm definitely not shocked to see prices doing what they're doing right now. This I thought was funny. This guy tweeted out, my inventory is so ass, it's almost entirely unaffected by the pump. Then a couple days later, he's chiming back in, my inventory is so ass, it's almost entirely unaffected by the crash, which is funny. Again, good morning. Tons of items down 50, 45, 42, 36%. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy, all over the place. This market crash is one of the uglier and one of the quicker and one of the faster both pumps and crashes I think we've ever seen in CS2 history. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. We could go through a period of the market chilling back out and kind of going sideways for a while. Maybe we're going to crash down even further, but I don't really think we should or can crash down much further because, again, a lot of items are getting back to where they were a couple of weeks ago. We're kind of getting back to where we started, and I don't really think there's a reason to go much lower. I think the skin marketplace is in a much just healthier and much more sensible place right now than it was a couple of days ago. Could we see a pump back up? If there is market manipulation, maybe they crash the prices back down to pump them up again. I don't know. I think we're probably just going to see a much more chill time period for the next couple of weeks. We'll have to wait and see. Again, we have the Austin Major right around the corner. We just got a new CS2 update. I don't know. Like I said, prices are crashing. Hopefully you haven't gotten burned too bad. But if you bought at the top, maybe you have some things to start rethinking. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.